Entrepreneurship in Pharmacy. Presented by pharmacist Dr. Nwayozuzu Azudo, PhD. Part 2. Types of businesses. Their registration and funding. The legal forms of starting a business are: sole proprietorship, partnership, private limited liability company, public limited liability company, cooperatives. 1. Sole proprietorship. This is also called sole trading. Here, a single person provides the capital, management, control and ownership of the business. It is easy to establish. The only legal requirement is business name registration. The owner makes decisions alone, enjoys profits alone and bears unlimited liabilities alone. The disadvantages here may include the possibility of poor quality decisions, and difficulty in raising funds. Also, the business may suffer in the absence of the owner. 2. Partnership. This business type is formed by 2 to 7 persons. It is governed by deed of partnership, which details the rights, duties, and responsibilities of each partner. In this business type, decisions are jointly taken, and each partner can act on behalf of the business. Partners can also pool greater human, financial, and managerial resources. Incapacity of one partner dissolves the partnership. A difficult partner can render the partnership unworkable. 3. Private limited liability company. This is a legal entity, separate from the people who own it. Both personal and company taxes apply. It is formed by 2 to 50 persons. Shareholders' liability is limited to their fully paid share capital. Separate professional managers are hired to run the business. Its lifespan is perpetual, until the business is legally wound up. It has the advantage of easy access to funds, but it is usually difficult to establish. There has to be a board of directors to make policy for the company. The business is governed by the provisions of Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, in Nigeria or the relevant law or act of your country. It must also be registered by the Corporate Affairs Commission, Abuja, or the business regulatory body of your country. It must have a Memorandum of Association, showing the name, objectives, directors, secretary, office address of the business, and the words limited liability. It must also have articles of association, detailing rules and regulations, governing the internal operations of the business. 4. Public limited liability company. Everything said about private limited liability company also apply to public limited liability company. The major difference is that a public limited liability company is formed by 5 people and above. There is no ceiling to the total number of people that can form this type of business, unlike the private type, that has a maximum of 50 people. 5. Cooperatives. This is a group of people pooling resources together for their common interest. This business form does not require incorporation. It also removes the ceiling of private limited liability company, i.e. the maximum number of people that can own the business, without going public. It is ideal for professional groups, or associations. For example, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, PSN. PSN formed PUFARM to address problems of chaotic drug distribution in Nigeria. Business registration. All businesses operating in Nigeria must be registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, or the Registrar of Business Names. Other countries have their business registration, or incorporation bodies. Applications for business registration must include the following. 1. The Memorandum of Association. 2. The Articles of Associations. 3. Notice of the registered premises of the business. 4. Full particulars of the directors and company secretary. 5. Tax clearance certificate of the owners for the previous 3 years. 6. Statement of share capital of the company. 7. Declaration of compliance with the requirements of Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, for Nigeria or that of the country you are establishing your business in. 8. Name of the business, and its objectives. 9. Appropriate fee. Note that for sole proprietorships, only items 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9 are required. Registration of pharmacy a business. This process generally follows the process discussed under business registration above. In addition, it has the following features. 1. It is governed by the provisions of Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990 and the Pharmacists' Council of Nigeria Act 91 of 1992. Other countries have their own laws or acts for this purpose too. A pharmacy must be a limited liability company. private or public. 3. It must have a registered pharmacist on its board of directors. 4. It must have a superintendent pharmacist in direct personal control and management of its pharmaceutical activities. Funding of businesses. Capital simply means the resources, i.e. financial, human etc. resources, with which a business carries out its operations. Used in a narrow sense, it refers to availability of funds. Here, capital can be grouped into long-term, medium-term, and short-term capital. The sources of capital to start and run a business depends on the type of business and use of funds. Long-term investments should apply long-term sources, and short-term investments should apply short-term sources. Sources of funds for sole proprietorship. This includes 1. Personal savings and family sources. 2. Borrowed money, with or without interest. 3. Credit purchases from sources that trust the sole trader. 4. Reinvestment of profits. Note that capital provided by self should be treated as a loan or liability to the business. Sources of funds for partnerships. Here, partners jointly provide the funds, as in sole proprietorship above. Sources of funds for limited liability companies. 1. Equity or ordinary share capital. This is also known as common stock financing. It is capital owned by the shareholders of a company. It is the sum of capital stock, share premium, and accumulated retained earnings. The major advantages of this common stock method of financing businesses include: A. There is no obligation to make fixed payment. B. It never matures for repayment. C. It increases credit worthiness of the business. D. It can often be sold on better terms than loans. The major disadvantages of common stock financing are: A. It dilutes ownership and extends voting rights to new members. B. It reduces dividend per share, as new members share in the firm's profit. C. Cost of common stock financing is high due to fees and allied charges. D. Dividends are taxed double, as there are both company income tax and withholding tax. 2. Preference share capital. Preference stock is a hybrid security having the characteristics of debt and equity. Holders are entitled to priority claim on the profit of the firm before ordinary shareholders. 3. Reserves. Companies do not usually distribute all their profits at the end of the year. Part of it is retained as reserve, to be plowed back into the company, as capital for expansion and other purposes. 4. Debentures. These are loan capitals, obtained from individuals or corporate organizations, at a fixed regular interest rate. It is a long-term source of fund for businesses. 5. Leasing. This is a medium-term source of funding for companies that may not be able to afford huge funds needed to purchase assets, like land, building, equipment etc. The company therefore goes into negotiation with the asset owner, known as the lessor, who allows the company, known as the lessee, to use the asset for a specified period of time, at a rental fee. 6. Loans from banks and insurance companies. This is usually a short-term source of fund for businesses. Loans carry fixed interest rate. Collaterals are usually required. 7. Deferred tax. This is tax that is due, but is withheld for a period of time. 8. Capital market or stock exchange market. Publicly quoted companies, in addition to the above sources, can also raise funds from the capital market or stock exchange market. Thank you for listening and God bless you. We hope you learned something from this lecture. If you did, kindly like and share this video. Also support us by clicking the subscribe button, as well as the bell button beside it, and select all from the options. That way, you will be notified of any other video we publish on this channel. Till we come to you again, with another interesting video, we wish you the best in your business ventures. Bye for now, and see you in the next one.